Assalamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala Rasulihil Ameen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Okay, how was lunch, everybody? Everybody have a superb lunch like I did? No. I had a great lunch. Huh? No, it was not very. What happened to the wet flour? What is it? Flour? What happened to it? Okay. I was told someone brought me something in the morning. No, you're gonna run and get it now. Not like I'm gonna eat while I'm talking. Look, let me explain to you the whole thing with biryani, okay? Okay, let's finally explain the biryani thing. I used to teach at this school for like 5 years, and the youth were getting to the level where now they're supposed to start giving khutab and start giving speeches. So we were supposed to instruct them on how to give a good speech, or how to make your speech worthwhile to people. So I gave them this analogy and involved biryani. I told them, look, a good speech is like a plate of biryani. You'll understand. I told them, if you eat biryani at a generous person's house, there's a lot of meat there, you know? You don't have to hunt for the meat. The meat's right there. And this is my problem with biryani. When you eat biryani at a stingy person's place, they used to sell biryani in this masjid, there's no meat, it was just rice. It's spicy rice. And you gotta hunt. When you see a piece of meat, you're like you found a treasure. You're so happy, oh, there's meat. So then I eat the piece of meat and I hunt. Ooh, there's a small you know, so I told him your speech is like a plate of biryani. Don't give people rice. You know how some people, their khutab are like, no ayat, no hadith. Brothers, we need to be good. Brothers, let's be kind. Brothers, let's fast. Brother, give me a hadith. Be kind, give me a hadith. Let's fast, give me an ayah. Give me meat. So your speech, the meat in your speech, your ayat and your hadith, that's the meat. So the more meat you have, because when you eat this spicy rice, 1 hour later you're hungry again. People come on Jum'ah and they want you to help them increase their iman and learn something, nourish them spiritually. Give them a lot of meat. Don't just give them rice. You see? And so that's where the whole biryani thing came. So from there it became apparent my dislike of biryani if a non-generous person makes it. And all you get is just rice. You have to hunt for meat. You know, I like my meat to be right there on the top. I like it to be clear and visible. It's talking to me. Hello, here I am. You know? I don't want to hunt for my meat. What is this? So that's the whole idea. So I don't have any problem with biryani as long as a generous person makes it. You know? But if you want me to go on a wild goose chase looking for a piece of meat, I'm not interested in that. So it's not that I hate biryani or dislike it. I can actually eat it. I'm going to eat it any time. You know, you want to go right now, let's go. But, you know, let's have it good. So your khutbah, your speech should be like that. Don't just give people rice. Wallahi, brothers, we should be good. Brothers, we should be nice. Give me ayah, give me hadith. Fill people, spiritually nourish them, and then send them off. That's the whole biryani thing. So you know, I promised you a poem, and I just forgot my poem today, the kebab poem. Forgot. But I think I memorized another one. It's a bit shorter though. It's a friend of mine. We used to eat a lot together, you know, and I actually used to eat a lot, believe it or not. Back then we used to weight train and stuff, so I used to eat a lot. So me and this guy, we were like, you know, monsters. And like he, you know, if I ever like was in some town that I don't know, I basically, he knew all the restaurants. So I would call him up and say, yeah, I'm at the corner of this and that. He's like, you know, if you go 2 blocks, there's a good restaurant there. So then he got married, and I got married, and we never ate out together again. So I wrote him this poem, where I told him, sadness fills my heart and fills the sky. Marriage forces us to say goodbye. The sun has risen, but it hasn't shone. You know I don't like to eat alone. Whenever I was hungry or was in the mood, Calling you was like dialing 1-800-FOOD. You had extensive knowledge of every branch and location, even pricing, menus, and hours of operation. And then, but now we don't eat and we don't mingle. I wonder if you still eat like when you were single. So, and we used to go to this place. It was a phenomenal Afghan restaurant, and they had something called chopan, which is lamb chops. But they were the best lamb chop place there. So I said, so give me a call sometime if you can, to eat some kebab or maybe chopan. Or for a light snack at the all-you-can-eat, let's make them suffer another defeat. So I'm still waiting for that day when somebody just puts that on YouTube or something. Usually when I give the speech, the camera's off, you know, give the poems and stuff. Okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to use these two for later. Okay, let's get started, inshallah. One other method. So what do we have as methods right now? All the ways that we've mentioned. Just read through your notes. Quantifying the argument. Using the flip side of the argument. Go ahead, just yell them out. Making analogies, comparisons to dunya. Statistics and facts. Sometimes, 1 + 1 = 2. Link it to why we do it. It's linked to Allah Azza wa Jal. It's not about this specific small action here. It's linked to the greatness of Allah Azza wa Jal. Or that sometimes you shame people out of something, like the guy who says, I can't leave pork. Are you serious? Okay. There's something, sometimes you might encounter someone with the weirdest arguments. And so just like when a Muslim comes to you with something weird, what do you tell them? What's your dalil? What's your proof? So you can actually use this with other people. Like one time, this guy, again, this is an example of when you encounter someone that something you never heard of before. So I kept asking him, what is, I say this, he says that. I say something else, he brings these arguments that I've never heard of before in my life. They don't make any sense. So the easy way is to go to his or her source, and then let's talk about where you got this information from. And then let's look at that in detail and prove that that's false. That way I get rid of all your arguments. So when I went to do it with this person in this specific case, I said, okay, where did you get all this from? It was really weird. And I said, how do I tackle this guy? Then I thought, where is he getting this from? Why am I accepting this information? So I said, okay, where did you get this from? Which book? Which teaching? So he basically started to say some gibberish about it being, analysis and contemplation about certain historical events that had taken place. So I said, you made it up? I said, yeah. The guy made it up, it made life easier for me. Sometimes when you're doing biblical discussion, they make things up. Like one time I was asking this one person, I was basically taking him through, So I said, is Jesus, obviously, these are questions that are known. They have to say yes to them. Is Jesus co-equal to the Father? Equal? Because if they say less, then we have a problem. He said, yes, they're equal. So did he take part in creating the earth? Yes, he created the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars. He was part of that. Did he know that he was going to be sent down to die for people's sins? Or was it just like, he just opened a piece of paper and said, that's your mission? And he suddenly found out. So he knew. He knew even before the earth was created that he was going to go and die for people's sins. All right then. So then when he was put on earth, he wasn't forced and pushed into this mission. He was accepting to do it, right? He has to say yes, because if he says no, that's obviously a lesser God being forced to do something he doesn't want to do. So then, okay. So while he was on earth, was he aware of this idea, or he totally forgot who he was and what the mission was? No, he knew it 100%. All right. So why is it then that when he was about to be arrested, he goes to the rooftop and he makes the dua, he says, Father, let this cup pass from me, and let this not happen to me. So before the earth was created, he knew he was going to come and die for people's sins, and he knew it while he was on earth, and while Adam was created, and while things were happening, and then suddenly, before the arrest, one of the events leading to it, he says, let this not happen to me. And then when he's put on the cross, what does he say? My Lord, why have you forsaken me? What do you mean, why have you forsaken me? He knew this was the plan. And how can you understand what's the problem with that argument? Why would he say, why have you forsaken me? Forsaken you? That was the plan. Before he created the earth, it was there, according to that. So you know when I said that, the guy said, oh yeah, that was the human Jesus, human side of Jesus. See? That's just an excuse, right? So, and I know that I need to say, well, what's your proof? So I said, oh really, that's very interesting, never heard that before. And which verse is this in? He said, well, it's not in the Bible. So, okay, look, let me tell you. And I was, look, this is the problem we have. Is that when there's a description, is that you always add these things, you make these things up to justify your argument when it comes to Jesus. Like when someone is referred to as the Son of God in the Bible, you don't take it literally, right? Just like Adam and others referred to as sons of God, you don't take it literally, David, so on. But here, when it comes to Jesus, you take it literally. And here it's literal, and that's what it means. And so, you make up things like, oh, here it was the human side of Jesus. Here is the. So where did you get this from? And you don't. It's not from the passage. You just make that up. So, and it's not like the human side takes over, then the God side takes over. It's not like I'll talk about Dr. Bruce Banner or something. The Hulk takes over, and then the human side takes over. What are we talking about here? So, at one time, another person gave me another argument, and they said that it's like you coming to work now. You got out of bed in the morning. You didn't want to come into work, but you had to come into work. That's why I said, he knew he had to do it, but he's like didn't want to do it. Yeah, you're talking about someone that you claim to be a God. Who's going to force a God to do something he doesn't want to do? And I have to work because I have this weakness, right? I need to work. And if I was a trillionaire, you think I would, be sitting here talking to you? I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But so you're using the wrong comparison. So always say, what's your source? Where'd you get that from? That also helps you a lot, because a lot of stuff that's out there is made up. If I can't tackle the idea itself because it's attached, it's linked to the source, let's talk about that source. Who wrote this book? What year did it surface? And what's so perfect about it? What about it makes it that it couldn't have been written by any human being? You read the Book of Mormon? There's nothing about that book that says a man couldn't have written it. Nothing. And even the information in it, if you want to argue, well, he couldn't have known all the historical, but it's still stuff that's attainable by man. And a man can still gather that info. No matter how and where they get it from, it's still material that can be written by a